morning, everybody. Today I'm coming back and playing along with another sketch from Christy's Beautiful Life, the best of 30 days of sketches. This sketch today kind of really sparked my interest. As you could see, it had quite a bit of mixed media going on the bottom. Sorry about that. It's kind of early while I'm filming this. And I thought I would like to try to use up some of my Hip Kit Club paper and embellishments. So I took 3 papers, this one with the pretty little florals on the front and the hexagons on the back from the May 2020 kit. And I love this paper right here with the just black and white florals. It was just so pretty, just so delicate and pretty. Loved it. And it's got an orange ledger on the back, which I will use also. This one with the what looks like mixed media, pink mixed media on the back. I love the writing on the back. I don't use it this time, but I have plenty left that I could use it on another layout. But for my base, I'm going to just use this white textured cardstock from Basil. And at this point, I have cut down my 2 main squares. I don't think I used as many layers as the sketch called for, but I wanted kind of this delicate layout, but at the same time to follow along with what the sketch showed. So the big layers, I just used 2, and I used from that pink mixed media paper looking paper and the delicate white flowers. In order to do the mixed media, I decided to add a little clear gesso to the white paper. The reason I did that is if you've used gesso before, you know that it allows you a little bit more time to work because your paint doesn't soak right into your paper. And because it had the drips coming down, I knew I wanted to be able to play about with that paint for a little bit longer. So I decided to put just a little bit of gesso in that spot that I would need it. I did go ahead and dry it off camera. I just used my heat gun and dried the gesso so that I would be able to use it. And here I'm just getting my papers kind of situated where I want them again so that I can start putting the mixed media in. As you can see, I'm going to use these 2 Shimmerz paints. One is an actual Shimmerz, like the original Shimmerz, and so it's quite a bit thicker than the other paints are. You're going to see that I struggle a little bit with getting the drips to happen with that yellow Shimmerz paint, the actual Shimmerz, but I make it work. You can, whatever you need to do to get things to work the way that you want them to. You can add more water, you can use your paintbrush, and you'll see me do both as I get started here. See that yellow right there? It's already comes with the liquid in it. And, you know, I'll be honest, I've probably left it open a time or 2 longer than I should have. And that's probably why it's not quite as wet as it used to be. But I just added a little bit of water. And here I'm just going to go ahead and start with the base of where those drips are going to come from. My plan is that most of this base is going to sit underneath the layers. And I just had this idea of doing kind of like a graduated color from yellow to orange to pink. So you can see me just kind of mixing the yellow and the pink together to get the orange right now. And after a little while, I do go and rinse out my water from my brushes. They were kind of dirty from some other projects I was doing. And so, yeah, I had to keep washing my brush off as I went. But I do go and wash them off a little bit later so that I don't have so much trouble. So here I am just going ahead and making some drips happen here. As you can see, like I told you guys, in the yellow, it just didn't want to drip. So I'm adding some more water over there and just using my paintbrush to kind of draw that down and look like a drip. I don't think I ever really got the yellow to drip on its own, but that's okay. I made it work with the paintbrush. And I really didn't want this this mixed media to be overwhelming. I didn't want it to be I didn't want it to be the focal point of the page. So generally my mixed media it gets away from me, but I really showed restraint this time. I feel with my social media, I didn't even let it go down to the bottom of the page. I really controlled those drips to be exactly how I wanted them to be. So you'll just see me kind of playing around here a bit, checking with my papers if it looks the way that I wanted it to look. And then I decided I wanted my drips to go down a little further. And so I just hold the paper up, kind of shake a little bit, turn it around until it does what I want it to do. And of course, I don't have complete control over that mixed media, but in the end, I like how it looks. I like how the colors are blending together and that it's gradually going from yellow to pink. So you saw me at the end just with the heat gun for a minute. I did it off camera and I just dried those shimmers down there so that I could continue to build the page. So at this point, like I said, I've already got my big layers here and I've got them cut out. I did 6x6 squares. I figured that would be big enough. My picture is small. I just have a 2x3 picture that I'm going to be using, so I didn't need big giant squares. And I liked the idea of it being just about half the size of the page. So I did 6x6 squares, and like you saw earlier on the black and white flowers, I tore the edges just to give, I don't know, I just wanted like a softer edge. I didn't like that hard edge. I know I could have distressed it like I did the pink paper, but I just really wanted a different look. So I tore the black and white flowered paper, and I'm just going to sit them kind of cockeyed on each other, just as the starting base for my photo to be laid down. So this is the base of what I'm going to be working on, and it was really kind of difficult for me to have that much white space on my page. I don't generally keep that much. Oh, here's my photo. That's of my sweet puppy Fiona. My daughter had decided she was going to brush her hair really pretty and put bows up by her ears. So she has these little pinkish red bows up on her ears, and she just looks so adorable. So anyways, as I was saying, that 6x6 square area is going to be the focal point that I'm going to be working just in that area. For me, that's kind of difficult. I like to fill in all the white space, at least with something, some kind of mixed media, some kind of embellishment, something or other. But I tried really hard to stick pretty close to the sketch, which had everything centered in one area, which was on that square. So you're gonna see me doing that, which is not really normal for me. I held up that the yellow side of the paper, which I like that yellow side, but it has more of kind of like a greenish tint to that yellow, if that makes any sense. So it really just didn't match with the shimmers that I used on the bottom, and so I decided not to use any of the yellow. So for matting my photo, you saw me hold up the pretty little delicate florals, and I don't think I showed you the other one that I'm going to do yet, but I don't end up using the yellow. Here I am, I'm just using that big punch I actually got to make my planners for when I was teaching, and I used like the circle binding for the planners. So that's just like a binding punch, and I kind of confiscated it for my scrapbooking, and now I make sort of what looks like torn paper edges. It doesn't really, because it's not the same shape, but I like how it looks. And normally I just punch twice on a strip of paper, and it kind of still gives me that kind of vibe of having torn paper. So I went ahead and made those strips that I saw on the sketch. I really liked those strips, and I wanted to make sure that I included them. Okay, so here I go with matting the photo. Like I said, I used the delicate little tiny floral paper to put the photo right on, and then I tear the edges down because, like I said, I want this softer feel to this layout. And with the really bold paint on the bottom, the mixed media, I felt like with the papers and stuff, I had to kind of show the softness with the papers that I had up. So you notice I'm using mostly light colors. The most bold thing I have up there is that orange. So when I was cutting out the pink paper, obviously I had this other 6x6 square from the half that I used. What would I call it? Like the platform there? I don't even know. The base, there we go. The base of my little pile of papers there. And I took the other 6x6 and just cut out another mat for my photo. And I really like how that looks. I like the layered look, the layered torn look around the photo. It's, I don't know, it just feels really soft and pretty, and I don't know, just kind of complements. My dog is just so dark, you know, you can see she's black, and the background around her, she's laying on a black pillow, or I'm sorry, a black blanket. And so everything is really dark in the photo. So I really like that all of the soft colors that I used on the papers, it helps her to stand out in the picture, which she should, you know, she's being featured. She's the special one in the picture. So everything around should complement and help to make her stand out. So at this point, I'm trying to get the main elements of the sketch in place. You know, it had all of these mats of paper. It probably had even more mats of paper, but I just put what felt right to me, and I liked the 2 big mats. I had thought about putting more, but in the end, that I just really felt like this gave the feeling that I wanted the paper to have, which was just elegant and soft and sweet. So I've got all of the base parts down. And so now I'm going to go ahead and stick my title down, because I want to make sure that I have space for that nothing else is going to go in that area. I need to know where it's at. So I decided to use this beautiful from one of my thickers. A while back, I got a ton of thickers from Joann's. I ordered them. They had a pretty good sale on them, and I think they were like $4 for a pack of those. So I got like 10. I don't remember now, but there was quite a few. I still have quite a few of them, but I really love the font on this beautiful. And I wanted black because, like I said, she is black, and so I wanted to bring some of that into the layout as well. And you'll see I'll do it in a couple of places. I will add just a bit of black so that it doesn't feel so off with all the light colors. That little round element I pulled from my 49 in Market ephemera pack. I'm sorry. I actually used 2 pieces. I used that round one, and then you can see in my little black tray there's a circle element too. I'm going to pull that in as well and use as the circle elements that were shown in the sketch. I had forgotten about these, that I had these set aside and that they were part of the main layout. So you saw me have to remove my title and move down that little orange strip just a little bit so that I could fit these circles in. No big deal. I just had to pull up the tape just a little bit, and it still stuck. It was fine. Almost lost the dot to my eye there, but it's all right. Everything is good. I put it back in there, and I'm really happy with how this looks with those circle elements in there. They're just really pretty. And so I had forgotten to rough up the edges of that circle element there, so I'm just doing it with my fingernail. It's kind of delicate anyway, and so I really didn't want to use my edge distressor on that because it probably would have ripped it. So that's what I do with smaller, more delicate elements, is I will just use my fingernail and just kind of rough up the edges just a bit. I also wanted that circle piece to stand out a little bit, have a little more dimension. So you see me here, I'm just sticking some foam on the back, just little tiny strips of foam on the back of that so that it stands up and we'll get a nice little shadow underneath it once I peel all of the little pieces off. There you go. So now I think I'm done with all the main elements of the page, and the rest are just some embellishments that I pulled out from my Hip Kit Club kit. You see me there trying to get that other half of the circle because I hate to waste it. I hate to not use it, but it doesn't end up making it in there at that point because it just, I just wanted the circles where they were. You'll see I go pretty embellishment heavy on this edge and not the other side. And I just really like how it turned out in the end. I think you guys will too. You see me messing around a little bit with a couple of these like alternate titles. That one I'm playing with says best pal. I mean, and it's very appropriate. She is my little best pal, but I don't end up using that because it just doesn't vibe with the feeling I wanted. I can't remember what the yellow and orange one says right now, but I do end up fitting that in. And in the sketch, it had like some leaves or ivy or something that was coming out the bottom, and it looks really pretty, but when I tried, you saw me there, I tried putting those flowers down there on the bottom, it just covered up too much of my mixed media, and I didn't like how it looked. It felt really off balance to me to have it on the bottom. So I decided to try it up here in that corner, on that right hand corner, and I really, really, really liked how that looked with this stuff coming out the corner there. So I've got the pink and kind of burnt orange leaves, and then there is like a sprig of purple flowers in there, and then the other ones are actually black and white, so that's some of that black that I'm trying to get onto the layout at the end to kind of highlight my puppy and the title, just to kind of tie everything in together. Stuff isn't quite exactly how it's going to be. I play around with this for a little bit to kind of figure out where I really, really like things and where I don't. That there, I can't, like I said, y'all can probably read it here while I'm doing my voiceover. I can't read what it says and I can't remember what it says, but I like how it looks there, and I kind of wanted to hide that Jack Skellington there in the corner with her because it feels kind of Halloween-y, even though that was a Christmas movie, but it feels kind of Halloween-y with that skull there. So I decided to cover that up with, it's kind of like an alternate title there. It's just really sweet. It looks like some washi tape is what it looks like. So really cute, and I liked that there. I'm still trying to decide, do I want to use that? Where do I want everything to be? Tried with this tag, but no, it just, I knew pretty quickly that it wasn't going to work, that tag there. So I've got this little circle piece. This is from my Hip Kit ephemera. I kind of picked through two different ephemera kits. One of them was the May ephemera, which is where a lot of this came from. But I also had another ephemera kit that I got during their National Scrapbooking Day. It was in a grab bag, and I pulled some things out of that too. I don't know which month that would have been from, or even which collection that was from, because it just came in a random set of things that I got from there. It was really awesome. I loved the stuff I got there. I just can't tell you what month that ephemera would come from, but I pulled things from that too that just kind of were the same matching colors, and I used quite a bit, if not, I didn't use all, but I used most of everything I pulled out. And the way things are sitting right now are pretty close to what I'm going to end up having them be. I'm going to make a few changes here. Again, I'm still trying to cover up that Jack Skellington there. And I really like how that looked. It doesn't seem to detract from the picture, and it just gives this little bit of dimension. So these butterflies right here, I love these. These came in the May 2020 Hip Kit. They are fabric butterflies, and they're black and white. But they're really easy to paint on, so you could watercolor. I decided to use some of my Shimmerz here to paint, and you'll see me do one. You don't see me do them all, and I end up only using two of them. But I decided to use the really thick Shimmerz around the outside little edge to put like some yellow, really glimmery, and it turned out so pretty. It's really sparkly and bright there on just the edge. And then in a moment, you'll see me grab the pink, and I tried to kind of variegate it a little bit so that it starts off dark and gets a little bit lighter with the pink. I don't know how well I succeeded. I'm not very good at doing that. I need to practice a little bit more in how to vary that color and to have it come out a little bit lighter without losing the paint, because the problem that I was having was if I dragged it out too far, my brush would go dry, and so I wouldn't get any color, and it would just kind of stop in a line. So I ended up, you know, putting a little bit more color than I wanted. But look at that. Isn't that just so cute? I love that you can paint on those, and they just turn out so cute. A word to the wise though, the reason I didn't use 3 is on the third one, I kind of messed it up a little bit. I tried something a little bit different. I used black around the outside, and then I did orange in the middle so it could look more like a monarch. And it does color-wise, but the black started to bleed because I made it a little bit too wet. So if you're gonna paint on those butterflies, just be aware that too much water makes it bleed because it is fabric. So could be a really cool effect if you want that and you're kind of planning for that to happen. But if you're not, and you're not wanting the colors to bleed into one another, then just be careful of how much water you use on that fabric. To stick down these butterflies, I put just regular adhesive tape down the middle, and then I put a little bit of dimensional foam, just a little bit on each of the wings so that the wings would stand up a bit. These don't fold as well as the paper butterflies. Normally I just kind of fold the paper butterflies and they stick up with dimension, but because this is fabric, it needed a little help. So I just put the little bit of dimensional foam on each of the wings. I'm really getting close to the end here. Everything is tacked down. I took a break and did that off camera so that you wouldn't have to watch me. My videos are long enough because I try to leave as much as possible in for you guys so that you can see how I'm doing things. I know I prefer that, some don't, but you don't need to see me sticking everything down. So here I am adding some just tiny black splatters. I used my tiny paintbrush so that they would just be little, and that again is just to kind of bring out that black that my dog is, so that it all kind of worked together. I just wanted to have a little bit, and I showed great restraint here, guys, like serious restraint, because look at all of that white space that is still left on this page. Everything is up on that top quarter quadrant here of the page, and I am actually quite proud of myself that I didn't have to sprinkle the entire page, because believe me, I struggled with that. Here at the end, I'm just getting a few like finishing touches. I grabbed a couple of packages of my Echo Park adhesive brads, and I pull a few of those out. One is just this really pretty like jewel looking thing, and so I put that as the center of that pink, that half pink flower over there on the left hand side, and the other one is kind of a pearl color. They're both pink, but that pearl one, I'm gonna mess around with that for a minute just to kind of see where I like it best, and I put it in a few places and played around. But finally, after the beautiful title, I found that I really liked it there. It almost was like a period, you know, like beautiful period. And so yeah, here I am going through my Scrap and Happy Studios Flair, and I found 2 that had yellow flowers in them. I didn't want to use my big canvas ones. They were just big for this project. I did have a couple that would match, but I just didn't want anything that big. So I wanted to use the standard size epoxy Flair, and I picked these 2 flowers, and I think that they tucked in really cute and just kind of brought the layout together at the end there. So I think this is about it. I know I just kind of look at it for a minute and I'm like, am I done? Do I want to do more? But I decided, nope, I think I'm done. So here I am just kind of showing you guys the dimension of it. You can see that there's that one little piece fell off there because I'd forgotten to glue it. I'm going to glue it here. Here you're going to see it. There it is at the bottom. And that is my completed layout. Thank you guys for watching today, and I hope you all have a great day. See you next time.